Hello and a very warm welcome to this special as we look ahead to India versus New Zealand. Yes, that is the match that we all Indian fans are looking ahead to because it's India versus New Zealand, and not just that, this becomes a very crucial match for India to win after having lost to Pakistan in their opening encounter. But what is it that India can do to register a win in this match? We will discuss it in details. I have with me Nikhil Narayan here. I also have Shubhayan Chakravarti, who joins me from Dubai. But India versus New Zealand is a very crucial game for us. And Nikhil, since India lost to Pakistan, and it wasn't just another loss, it was a very big loss, so to speak. So now this becomes very crucial in this group for India to win. In fact, India and New Zealand will go into this match. It is going to be a high pressure match for both of them because both have lost their opening encounters.
Absolutely, Meha. After Pakistan beat New Zealand the other day, it meant that this match on Sunday, the coming Sunday, India versus New Zealand, is a potential quarter-final. It is a shootout, given the other three teams in the group are Namibia, Scotland and Afghanistan, and they may not be able to defeat any of India, Pakistan or New Zealand. So the match on Sunday is a potential quarter-final between India and New Zealand. Whoever wins is most likely to go to the semi-final with Pakistan.
In fact, let's take a look at that Group 2 points table, and Pakistan really right at the top. Look at that net run rate, Nikhil. I mean, yeah. Pakistan would be so happy with that. They've already got 4 points after having won 2 out of their 2 matches. For Afghanistan as well, they beat Scotland, so they've got 2 points there. Namibia yesterday again beating Scotland. New Zealand and India have lost their opening encounters, as we were just talking about, and then there's Scotland. But as Nikhil said, and why this becomes so much more important for India to win this match, because the 2 or the 3 big teams in this group is India, New Zealand and Pakistan. Pakistan have already won 2, and they are in every possible way are going to be right at the top. Will look to go through to the semi-finals, but then it becomes about India and New Zealand. And if they beat Namibia, Scotland and Afghanistan, if all 3 teams, these big 3, beat the small 3, then this match is basically a knockout match. Whoever wins this match will go through to the semis, right?
Absolutely. It is a virtual shootout quarter-final, big match, high-pressure match.
And when we talk about big matches, we look at what has been the record really for the 2 teams, because that's where the pressure comes from. How good have the 2 teams been in the recent past or overall in that format? And Nikhil, even when you look at that, India and New Zealand, India would be slightly wary because New Zealand do have a better head-to-head record.
Absolutely. New Zealand have a better head-to-head record overall in T20 eyes, Meha. Also in the 2 WT20 clashes in 2007 in Johannesburg and in 2016 in Nagpur, where Mitchell Santner picked 4 for 11. New Zealand have beaten India in both their encounters in the WT20s. Also, and this is quite disturbing for India, recently in Southampton in the WTC final, the World Test Championship final, India lost to New Zealand. In the 2019 semi-final, the main World Cup semi-final, New Zealand again beat India in the semi-final. So right. India and New Zealand has, the edge over India in these big ICC tournaments, and therefore there'll be extra pressure on India.
If you look at the 2 teams and how they played even in the last match, and the nemesis was the same, it was Pakistan. India lost to Pakistan by 10 wickets. New Zealand lost to Pakistan by 5 wickets, but in-form team being Pakistan. But for India and New Zealand, things would be slightly different here in terms of their bowling as well. Nikhil, there are a few concerns for India, and we've talked about it sitting on the desk, but let's talk about them one by one. One is, what were the factors in the last game against Pakistan, right? So let's start with the uncontrollable, which is due in this case, and throughout the tournament you're going to be seeing that, because even now as we speak, there are the number of matches that have been played, all have been won by teams chasing, except one, which was Afghanistan-Scotland. Afghanistan thrashed Scotland in that match, but other than that, it has been always the team chasing that has won here. So due is going to be a huge factor. Virat Kohli doesn't have a great record when it comes to winning the toss, but if India does end up losing the toss, there are few things that they need to consider. One being that they need to get extra runs 15 to 20 extra runs, that would sort of provide them the cushion.
Yes, absolutely. If India loses the toss, and it is almost a given that India would be batting first if they lose the toss, they need the extra cushion of 20 runs, which they did not have against Pakistan. They need around 160, 170 and not 150 against New Zealand. And therefore, the batting has to strategize itself that way. Go hard in the power play, which means you also have to preserve your wickets, but you have to go hard in the power play before the New Zealand spinners come in. Virat Kohli can't be sluggish in the middle overs. We'll talk about later a bit more. He has gone down. His scoring rate drastically goes down in the middle overs. It cannot happen. Rishabh Pant has to fire at the death. Ravindra Jadeja, and then Hardik Pandya, the big question mark. Is he playing, not playing? Is he playing as a batsman? Is he an all-rounder? What is he doing? So we have those questions to answer.
But New Zealand, their camp has been hit by injuries even before the tournament began, and Shubhayan can give us the update on Martin Gupta's injury. In that case, we know, Shubhayan, that Kane Williamson is already struggling with that elbow injury. He's talked about it as being work in progress. And then you had the news of Lockie Ferguson being out of the tournament. Their coach spoke about how they wanted Adam Milne as the replacement, but ICC declined that. So a lot of that was happening with New Zealand. And now we get to hear that, you know, there is another injury that's been added to the squad. Can you just tell us how bad is this injury for Gupta?
Absolutely, Neha. Just before this, in the build-up to this crucial clash between India and New Zealand, both the camps have had some interesting developments in their training sessions as well. Martin Gupta, obviously, as you said, has been struggling due to his and it will be interesting to see whether he gets past or not. Whatever I have heard from that New Zealand camp, they are struggling. They are struggling pretty badly to find a good combination going into the match against New Zealand. They want to play Adam Milne also in the playing 11. That would mean dropping either of Tim Southee most probably. So I think they would look to play both of Mitchell Santner and Nikesh Sodhi in the playing 11 given the conditions in the Dubai stadium. And obviously, as talked as the skipper of New Zealand, all the New Zealand fans would want Kane Williamson would to be at his fittest because his elbow is giving him some serious issues. So New Zealand are also very jittery when it comes to their team combination at the moment, and the next couple of days are going to be very crucial when it comes to finding a good combination to play against India.
Okay, you talked about Kane Williamson, and we said that he is also nursing an elbow injury, but that's not the only problem he has, because Kane Williamson's been struggling in T20 internationals this year.
Absolutely, Meha. One of the key battles I'm looking forward to in this match, Meha, is between Kane Williamson and Mohammad Shami. Now, Shami didn't have a great match against Pakistan, and unfortunately, he met with a lot of backlash, completely unwarranted, despicable, I would say. But this battle between Mohammad Shami and Kane Williamson, could define the match up front in the power play. Why do I say so? See, Williamson hasn't been the Williamson we know in 2021. His strike rate was just 113 in the IPL. Also for New Zealand, Meha, he has just scored 107 runs at an average of just 18 this year. Very crucially, he has been dismissed LBW or bowled 6 times in 2021. His weakness is that ball which is pitched up, that fuller ball on off stump which jags back in. He leaves a gap and he's either bowled or he's leg before wicket. Now, why Shami is crucial is because Shami firstly has an excellent head-to-head against Williamson in all T20 matches, IPL and international. 37 balls and 4 wickets. That is a fantastic record. Also, Shami is fast, accurate. He bowls a good length on and around the off stump. He has a excellent strike rate of 16.63 he had in the IPL, this IPL, and he can swing and seam the ball, get it back in, which is going to cause Williamson problem. So this could be a key battle. India would need Williamson early because Williamson is going to be their key batsman in this match.
The other thing being, Shubhayan, that if India need to get Williamson early, one of the things would also be how they look at Bhuvneshwar Kumar and whether Bhuvneshwar Kumar will be selected in the playing 11. there was obviously a lot of flack that the Indian team management received after Bhuvneshwar Kumar started with the new ball. Do you think that will continue, or maybe the team will look to get Shardul Thakur in?
Obviously, Meha, I was at the ICC Academy in Dubai to watch the Australia and Sri Lanka's training session yesterday, and just after that, India also walked in to have their training session. And interestingly, Surya Kumar Yadav was not present in that training session, the only absentee from the Indian camp. So that is also something which has intrigued a lot of fans there. But yes, as you said, all the players need to be at his best, and Bhuvneshwar Kumar has not looked at his best, nowhere near close to his best, even in the IPL and in the T20 World Cup so far. Bhuvneshwar Kumar was one of the first players to come and bat in the nets yesterday, followed by Shardul Thakur to bat at the net. So that combination is something which Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Ravi Shastri are trying to find, because MS Dhoni was overlooking all the developments from the nets. Even Hardik Pandya came into bat after bowling to Bhuvneshwar Kumar and Shardul Thakur. So Hardik Pandya bowling in the build-up to the match also comes as a good news, and it will be interesting to see whether Hardik bowls in that match against New Zealand or not. But I am not pretty sure whether Bhuvneshwar Kumar will get the nod in this match, and I am backing either of Ravichandran Ashwin or Shardul Thakur to come into the playing 11 for New Zealand team.
Okay, which is what we were discussing as well, Nikhil. That there are going to be changes after the way you saw Indians, the Indian bowling struggle to get the openers out, the Pakistani openers out. But let's also take a look at some of the other battles.
Yeah.
Can you take us through them?
The second battle which I'm looking forward to, Meha, is one between the slightly injured Martin Guptill and Jasprit Bumrah. Now, this is fascinating because firstly, Guptill has a toe injury. Yeah. And our man Jasprit Bumrah is a Yorker specialist and a toe-crashing Yorker specialist. Yeah. So, Guptill, please be beware. Your toes are in danger. Then, why is Guptill so crucial for New Zealand? He's crucial because he has a T20I strike rate of 145 in the last couple of years, since 2020. He scores big runs at the top of the order, opening for them. But the problem for Guptill is that he has only scored 37 runs at a strike rate of 106 against Bumrah. So, he hasn't taken on Bumrah whenever he's met him in the IPL. Why is Bumrah so special? Bumrah has a T20I strike economy rate of just 6.3 in the power play. So he's brilliantly restrictive in the power play. He's already dismissed Guptill thrice, Meha, in T20s. Also, he has the most wickets in the IPL, 84 wickets since 2018, leading wicket taker across fast bowlers and spinners. So Bumrah versus Guptill, could set the match up in the power play.
And it's not just Martin Guptill, because you also have seen how good Devon Conway has been for the New Zealand side since his debut last year, Nikhil, isn't that so? Yeah. And in all three formats, I think even in T20, he's already got 90 plus twice. Yeah. If we could just also take a look at how that battle would be between Devon Conway and the Indian bowling.
Yeah. Devon Conway has had a tremendous start. He's, I think, 30 already, but he's had a brilliant start to his international career, all three formats. Test, he made a double century on his Test debut at Lord's against England. He has scored 500 runs in international T20 cricket at an average of 56 at a strike rate of 148. That's a brilliant start to his T20I career. He's very surprisingly, he's a fantastic player of spin, both leg spin and slow left arm orthodox. Also, and here is where, if he has one weakness, that weakness is that his strike rate slows down against right arm medium pacers. That is the only sort of weakness one can see in Conway's career. His strike rate against right arm fast bowlers is only 125. His strike rate against left arm pacers is high. His strike rate against spinners is 135. So when Conway is batting, I think India should employ its barrage of right arm fast bowlers against him, whether it is Bumrah, whether it is Shami, whether it is Thakur. That is the only way to keep him quiet. Otherwise, he is an excellent player of spin, which is surprising for a New Zealand batsman.
Also, let's take a look at what India's batting would be like, especially with that problem, Shubhan, that we spoke about even before, right after, in fact, the India-Pakistan game was Hardik Pandya, and why he was not sent up. And Ravindra Jadeja was sent up, and we said yes, there was a left-right combination. But that's something that now the management, Ravi Shastri, Virat Kohli will have to look at, because I mean, what is the role that you have for Hardik Pandya? What is it that you want from him? And if you want, I think that was one of the reasons why you felt that India fell 15 to 20 runs short, and which is going to be needed if Dew is going to be a huge factor. So then do you get in a Shardul Thakur who can hit you big sixes? Jadeja struggled, and so did Hardik. So how do you solve that conundrum?
Absolutely, Neha. I think India need to get their playing combination spot on, because there's no scope for any mistakes in this match. This is, as Nikhil said earlier in the show, that this is a virtual quarter final. So a lot is riding. The entire campaign practically is riding on this match against New Zealand. But having said that, in the training session yesterday, there were some good signs for the Indian team and the fans as well, because when it comes to batting, Virat Kohli looked in great touch. He was smashing the ball all over the park. So was Rishabh Pant, and even Hardik Pandya looked in great touch yesterday when it comes to batting. Even MS Dhoni was seen coming towards Hardik Pandya. He halted the training session for a couple of times just to discuss a few technicalities. So I think India are banking on Hardik Pandya to come good in this match, and I won't be surprised if he comes into play at number 6, which is his designated role. I can understand the fact why Ravindra Jadeja was promoted up in the order, just to get that left hand right hand combination into the play. This Dubai International Cricket Stadium has a shorter boundary on one side when it comes for the left-handers. So I can understand why they promoted Jadeja ahead of Hardik Pandya. But the way Hardik Pandya was batting yesterday, he looked in great touch, and if he fires all cylinders, then the Indian team is in good state.
So I think I would still be wondering about whether Hardik Pandya can be used for those couple of overs, given that he has absolutely no match practice when it comes to bowling. So that's another question. But Nikhil, some of the other things being that Virat Kohli's strike rate, even for that matter, Rishabh Pant, I think got run a ball 39, right?
Yeah.
In a situation like this, where India are to bat first, what do they do?
Yeah, I think the two key battles for India I'm looking at, one is Virat Kohli versus H. Sodhi in the middle overs. Virat Kohli scoring rate dips down significantly in the middle overs. We saw that in the IPL. His strike rate is around only 106 in the IPL 2021, which is very slow. There is no reason for him to slow down, but that is just the way he's been batting. Virat Kohli needs to up the ante in the middle overs, especially against Is Sodhi, who has a brilliant record for New Zealand in the last couple of years. He's taken 47 wickets at a strike rate of 19.5 since 2020. He has an economy rate of around 7.3 in the middle overs. So Virat Kohli's strike rate against pace bowling is 144, but his strike rate against spin is just 105 in all T20 cricket since 2020. So Virat Kohli is struggling against spin. He's not getting out, but he's not being able to dominate spinners. He needs to do something different. You know, dance down the track, use his feet. He has to take on the spinners. The second battle, Meha, which I'm looking forward to, will be, up front between Rohit Sharma and Trent Bolt. Rohit Sharma has a serious problem against left-arm pacers.
Right.
He was dismissed to Shaheen Shah Afridi with the ball swinging in. He has been dismissed by Trent Bolt 3 times in 24 deliveries in all T20 cricket. The only way Rohit Sharma can counter Bolt is by batting outside the crease and by taking a leg stump guard so that he can negate the swing. That is the only way. Otherwise, Bolt will get Rohit Sharma out and India will have problems.
Yes, there are some of these questions that need to be answered, some of these cues to the puzzles, right, Nikhil? Because you need to figure this out. It is a crucial match that India will play against New Zealand. We get you all the latest from Dubai, as and when we get all the details about Martin Gupta's injury and who is bowling in the nets and who isn't. We already know that Hardik Pandya is. So that's one thing that a lot of people are sure of that maybe he will find a place in the playing 11 going into the next match. But that's it from us here. Nikhil and Shubayan, thank you so much. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.